I'm joined on the line now by Dr. Sriram Chowlia, who's the Dean of the Jindal School of International Affairs. Welcome, Sriram. First of all, why do you think this scientist was targeted?
Well, Neil, you know, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh is like the most enigmatic figure in the Iranian scientific establishment, most wanted person for Mossad for many, many years, the Israeli intelligence agency, and for many of the Sunni Arab Gulf monarchies who are now allied with Israel. They have been looking for Mohsen Fakhrizadeh. People didn't even know how he looked. I mean, hardly very few images of him released either by the Iranian government or in the hands of intelligence agencies. So, you know, he was, I think, seen as a major strategic asset to build Iran's nuclear capacities. And I think the goal of the assassination was to try and stop Iran from having any capacity. Although, you know, taking off the top scientist does not in itself make the entire establishment collapse. But the idea has always been that, you know, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh is a kind of larger than life figure like General Qasem Soleimani, who was also assassinated this year. So I think the goal was to decapitate or to completely, you know, rub Iran's nose in the ground, in the soil. And they want to flatten it and to bring it to its knees and then say, we will negotiate with you. So I think this is, you know, a one-sided move which will boomerang because it destabilizes, it creates a cycle of revenge. Because for the Iranian state, who has invested so much in Mohsen Fakhrizadeh and his activities over the years, or General Qasem Soleimani, they are being pushed with their backs to the wall and nowhere to go. And then you will have a Biden administration which will say, let us restart negotiations on the nuclear program. So it's like not a fair deal or not an equitable process. So the diplomacy, unfortunately, has been kept aside, and they are resorting to these kinds of extrajudicial killings which go against all forms of civilized conduct and international law.
You said there you think it's kind of about humiliation and perception. Is it fair to say that this wouldn't be enough to derail Iran's nuclear program, the removal of just the one person, so it's more about how it's perceived?
Yeah, look, it's almost 9-10 months since General Qasem Soleimani was assassinated by US drones in Iraq. And has that in any way lessened the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's influence in the region? No. I mean, although Israel has now entered into peace agreements with Bahrain, with UAE, and with Sudan, and more are likely to come with the Sunni countries. The problem is the countries, the Arab countries where Iran has influence, the IRGC is still active. You have Lebanon, where Hezbollah is still strong. You have Syria, you have Iraq. So that assassination already showed the futility of these moves. It only increases the hatred and the mistrust of the Iranian state towards the US and towards Israel and to the Sunni monarchies. It does not really solve the problem, because the problem is about letting everybody coexist and having let all major powers have some share of influence in the region. But what the Saudi and Israel, backed by the US, want is to try and, as you said, humiliate them completely. So I think this nuclear program, look, the Iranians were very pragmatic. They were trying to say, you lift the sanctions and then progressively we will cut down on our nuclear activities. That was the whole deal with the JCPOA in 2015 when Biden was vice president and Obama was president. But since then, the sanctions were reimposed by Trump administration, maximum pressure. What did they get out of it? Have they rolled back the speed with which Iran can develop potentially a nuclear weapon? No. I mean, the estimates say that within a year, the breakout time is still only 1 year now. If they really wanted, they could ramp up. They have already increased enrichment and centrifuges. So the idea is, you know, through talk, through negotiation, through give and take, that is how you make progress and to create stability. But instead, if you assassinate the top guns, what will the system in Iran think? I mean, the hardliners are growing in influence. The moderates are being marginalized. So I would say that, you know, it's a faulty step. It's a flawed move, which actually increases the anger and the long-term mistrust, because even if there is another round of talks and negotiations between the Western countries and Iran over the nuclear program, it will be in the back of their minds that they stunted us. They tried to, you know, completely eliminate our capacities. They want us to be in a subordinate position. And for a proud civilization and a Persian power like Iran, that will never be acceptable. So I think this will only increase, redouble the activities, overt and covert, for them to be able to sustain their influence in the region.
Sriram, thanks for your time. Sriram Chawla, my guest, Dean of the Jindal School of International Affairs there. Thank you.